This is the last session and very disadvantaged forum for the speakers and moderator, but last and not all the least. Anyway, we may conclude up regarding the security matters and relations between North and South. The world attention focused on Pyongyang this moment at the time, whether Chair Lady Hyun Jung-un could bring Mr. Yu from Pyongyang down to Seoul tomorrow or not. But news reported that the leader of North Korea and Chair Lady Hyun will meet tonight for dinner, and I think they will find out final result there. So we all hope and pray that Mr. Yu, sharing with me last name, Yu, could come safely with Chair Lady Hyun tomorrow. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your coming to this session. This is a very tiresome last moment of the 2 days conference here. And I, again, welcome all of you to this session. As you may notice in your program, the title of this session, Nuclear Weapons, Succession Politics, and the Future of North Korea. Very heavy, the topic. It's a very complicated topic also. Nobody knows exactly what's going on there. Much speculations and rumors around it. We have 3 experts and 4 experts, particularly the Mr. Klitz, representative of Nauman Foundation, went for Pyongyang more than 12 times, and he witnessed and he just had a experience with the North Korean leaders and ordinary persons. So he will present the real experiences, not just a theoretical rhetoric. He's going to present the factual statement, something what he experienced and witnessed in North Korea. So that must be very exciting presentation. So I will urge you folks, bear in with us until last minute of this one. So I'm going to intentionally ask Walter to speak very last. So other Korean speakers will speak before him, and he graciously agreed upon this proposal. I thank you for Mr. Klitz. You are a very nice guy, right? Aren't you?
Wait for the speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 excellent presenters this afternoon. Let me just briefly introduce the panel members this afternoon. From my left side, Professor Nam Sung-wook. Currently, he is a president of Institute for National Security and Strategy. He is a director of Institute of North Koreanology of Korea University, well-known expert in North Korean matters. He frequently appears televisions and news media, very kindly explaining to the audience and public, things in North Korea, many ways. So he's well-known, the scholars and policymakers. He wrote many articles. You can refer in the books here, so I can't go more than that. Dr. Nam is with us. And my next, Dr. Choi Gang. Most of you knows him, and he has been ample experience with the government, with research organizations, and editing the professional journals. And you can find out in your booklet that what kind of work he has done. He worked for the National Security Council, the defense organizations, and foreign affairs organizations, and he taught particularly arms control and security matter. And we have more than half page of the experience in here, your booklet, so you can just report that thing. My right, Professor Choi, relatively new guys in Korean society, educated in America, got a PhD from the Ohio State University. He teaches in Yonsei University now. He has good experience in the past, but unfortunately his resume is not included in our booklet, but I think we circulated his paper. You can report there. He wrote many articles. He worked for not only the Higher Education Institute, but also he has been involved in American teaching institutions and research institutions in the past. He was associated with the North Korean graduate school for North Korean studies in Gyeongnam University, sometime before he joined to Yonsei University this springtime. And we are expecting him to contribute more for this area, what he specialized in the foreign policy, attitude, and security matter, global Asia related matters. So I'm just happy to invite him in my panel this afternoon. And Mr. Walter Klitsch, representative of Naman Foundation in Korea. He has been with Frederick Naman Foundation more than 13 years. And he went through all important positions and the desks in Naman Foundation. He has been working for United Nations, representing Frederick Naman Foundation for Liberty. And his organization is supported by Liberal Party in Germany, right? Right. And they just proposed and he advised to Korean politicians and political scientists many ways, particularly for the unification methodology, how to approach to unification, the North and South, based on their experiences, West and East things. And he has been in North Korea more than 12 times. And Frederick Naman Foundation, since a few years back, they keep visiting Pyongyang and they taught accounting and some capitalistic, the market system things. So it's a good thing to teach North Korean people. I don't know how they quickly catch up the ideas of capitalism practice. I think he will elaborate and explain his experience later on. With those four, the outstanding speakers, we have 80 minutes. So I will just give each panel members about 15 to 20 minutes. We have ample time. I think right after this session, we have to join for dinner. So I think we have some flexible time to discuss more if there's any the questions arises, and will be better session than previous one, I believe. So I will ask the Dr. Nam to present this paper first. Dr. Nam.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the good introduction to me, Dr. Yu Jae-gun. My time extended to 5:50, just 15 or 20 minutes. My paper do not represent the official opinion of our institute sponsored by the government. Whenever we open the newspaper, we encounter so many kind of news fact about North Korea. It is difficult to clarify the intelligence by the government. It is difficult. My topic is North Korea military advantageism and the third hereditary transfer of powers. North Korea military advantageism has increased in secret on the Korean Peninsula. On April 5th, the North flaunted its power by the launch of a long-range rocket. In the face of corresponding measures emphasized by the international community, the North stopped disabling its nuclear facility and conducted the second nuclear test on May 25th. Through nuclear test, the North has attempted to make a presumption of having nuclear weapons, which has been implicitly denied by the outside world as an accomplished fact. North's nuclear possession is anticipated to be used not only for increasing its neighboring powers with the United States, but also for completing a succession process of Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un. However, can the possession of nuclear weapons, which is refused by outside the world, guarantee the North's hereditary power of transfer? Two kinds of Kim Jong-il's choice are the third hereditary power transfer and the military advantage. Recently, various sources reported and inferred about Kim Jong-il's health. My paper was done before Clinton and Kim Jong-il meetings. Even if Kim Jong-il has a 2 hours 15 meeting with Clinton, we don't know he's inside the illness situations. Of course, I agree that he's active and fluently talked with Mr. Clinton during the 2 hours and 15 minutes. A stroke in old age would naturally stimulate long-term and short-term prospect on physical lifespan due to its fatal after effects. Eventually, Kim's worsening health would be linked to the discussion about the successions. The Norse Kim clings to the hereditary power transfer because ensuring the succession process is the best choice for the political survival of Kim's clan members and followers. Another reason for the hereditary succession is the transfer of power to a third generation Kim can help to keep power from leaking by displaying that current regime is solidified. Therefore, the power structure around Kim Jong-il understands that the third hereditary succession rather than the power transfer to someone outside the family is necessary to keep their privileges. This topic is, can Kim Jong-un become his father's successor? It seems that Kim Jong-un has been named as his father's successor owing to his aggressive character and appearance, which are considered to be somewhat subjective. If it is true that he has been given the title of brilliant comrade or lineage of the family of Mang Kyong-dae, he might take a similar step to his father's succession path. Rather than these names, the fact that the new policy task is featured as one of the successors provides more meaningful evidence. The 150 days battle undertaken to boost the economy since April 2009 is similar to the 70 days battle in the second half of the 1974, which was added to Kim Jong-il's contribution in economic area. However, Kim Jong-un's succession has a significant difference from his father's. He would be in the same camp with his own elder brother, Jong-chol, Kim Jong-chol. Kim Jong-il had to put much effort to remove his half-brothers and sisters from the power struggle because he could not share his power equally. Unlikely, Kim Jong-un will have to find a way to live together with his own brother, Jong-chol. Kim Jong-nam, who is half-brothers, would disappear at the competitive stage by means of natural selection due to his excessive contact to the outside world. Besides, Kim Jong-un's hereditary succession has three different aspects from his father's. First, comparing to his father's succession from his grandfather's, there is no enough time to prepare the third hereditary succession. Second, having made his possession of nuclear weapon as an established fact, the North would face sanction and restraint from the international community. Third, despite of many functional intrusions, Kim Jong-un lacks those who have proven absolute loyalty to him. In conclusion, third hereditary succession is very difficult to be done rather than impossible to happen. Another topic is succession, when it will be officially proclaimed. Official proclamation of the succession will depend on personal variable, Kim Jong-il's health, and Kim Jong-un's capability to take authority. Second, material variables, domestic and foreign affairs. First, the material variable account for overcoming economic crisis through improving relations with the U.S., completing the development of the nuclear weapon and ballistic missile, seizing threat to current regime, securing an advantageous asymmetric weapon against South Korea, and ensuring political leverage. However, succession scenario would enter upon totally different phases according to the personal variable, such as the sudden death of Kim Jong-il. There are several focus scenarios related to Kim Jong-il health. First, sudden death. Second, vegetable existence. Hospital politics. A serious illness and right illness. No matter which scenario is realized, it is more thrown out, it becomes shrouded. It depends on whether Kim Jong-un can deliver the proposition that power can be taken, not given. Another topic is the implication and problems in the third hereditary power transfer. The third hereditary power transfer of North Korea has several implications. First, this means officializing of succession planning and the weakening of the ability to govern. The third heredity will open a way to challenges within an inner circle group and increase insecurity of the regime. Second, adherence to the image of despotic dynasty will cause oddity and mockery from neighboring countries and the international communities. community. Against an amplified argument of verification and qualification of third heredity from the outside world, the North Korea may become more closed. Third, concerning a successful ability to resolve nuclear issue, relationship with the South Korean domestic issue, the hereditary power transfer can bring a chance and to change circumstance for unification of Korean Peninsula. Another big topic is the implication and prospect of the North's second nuclear test and missile launches. Comparing to the first nuclear test, explosive power of the second nuclear test on May 25th was amplified in terms of seismic waves. Considering current nuclear test and the long-range rocket launch in 5 years, North Korea will be able to launch an ICBM with a nuclear warhead. With a great execution, miniaturized nuclear weapon and the long-range rocket allowed to attack faraway enemies. According to the international weapon expert, Scud missile is said to sell for $4 million. A Nodong missile for $10 million. This year, North Korea spent at least $340 million for the launch of missile. Having considered $400 million spent for the second nuclear test, North Korea invested a total $700 million during the last 3 months in demonstration of military power to organize the crisis on Korean Peninsula and pressure against the U.S. This amount of money can purchase the 2 million tons of rice in last year, which amount to 40% of the total food expenditure in the North Korea. The nuclear test and the long-range rocket launch have various implications for international politics. First, this can convert a negotiation issue from a nuclear renunciation to nuclear reduction and make the six-part talkers lose dynamic forces. Second, due to the acquisition of ICBM's movement to the Dongchang launch site, the North Korean nuclear possession and the long-range missiles ban into the new threat. Third, according to the Ministry of National Defense, North Korea already arranged about 800 missiles. Current reckless firing of missiles show that the military authority of North Korea take control of it and make the most of it. The international community wanted the decisive step against the North nuclear test and adopted the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1874. At the South Korea and U.S. summit talks, two leaders adopted a new vision for alliance, stipulating the provision of extended deterrence, including the U.S. nuclear umbrella, as a countermeasure to the North Korea nuclear test. In 2009, North's provocation seemed to be done depending on its own judgment without considering changes in external circumstance. In the second half of this year, it is expected to launch ICBM and start a negotiation with the U.S. with warning another nuclear test. China will keep its position as a regular feature of intermediary. Along with the establishment of a succession process, the North Korea will unfold the domestic control and seek both hardline and softline policy to the U.S., which will be affected by variables such as Kim Jong-il has. In conclusion, there is no loyal loads in making a diplomatic normalization with the U.S. without a CVID denuclearization. North Korea lost the opportunity for normalization and denuclearization by dragging with the contact with the USA during the Bush administration. But Pyongyang made a critical error by hasting experimental nuclear weapon against the Obama government. As you know, Obama strongly argued that his election catchphrase is the nuclear-free world. I think there is no alternative without the denuclearization in the near futures. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Dr. Nam. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't you give him a big applause over there. Thank you very much. Well, the presenter emphasized two things. Number one, succession of power transfer process, whether it's possible, what's the problem. And second, the implications and prospects of North Korean second nuclear test and missile launches, what implication it has, how we're going to defend ourselves, how we're going to choose our policy against these two things. And it will be closely related to the Korean relationship, North and South, also our relationship with the U.S. and other neighboring countries. We will discuss later on surrounding the issues later after we heard other panel members' presentation. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Choi Gang. Would you please?
Thank you, Chairperson Yu. It is my great honor to be here with the distinguished panelists, and also I'd like to thank the organizer for having me here on important events. Actually, the issues are quite challenging. Nuclear weapons and succession and future of North Korea. Nobody can tell the future of North Korea at this point of time. In the meantime, the immediate concern right now we have is like whether Chair Lady Hyun Jung-un can come back with detaining Mr. Yu tonight or tomorrow. Everybody is hoping for the return of the detainees as soon as possible. Actually, as I said, the issue and the theme of this session is quite challenging or maybe a little bit heavy-loaded, actually. It seems to me that there is some increasing hope for the improvement of relations between the United States and North Korea just by the President Clinton's visit to Pyongyang. But as far as I know and my observation, like the U.S. administration is taking very cautious approach in handling this issue. Actually, if you look at the State Departments and also the White House, they say just private mission, just separate this issue from the nuclear issue and other issues also. But I think it can create some kinds of the mood for having dialogue between the United States and North Korea. So actually, North Korea is sending the signals that it wants to improve the relations with the United States. But it depends upon what kinds of action North Korea can deliver, not the verbal statement. I think that's a key point. I think Obama administration, I don't know, maybe Ambassador Gregg is in a better position to tell about the Obama administration, what kinds of actions the United States wants to see from North Korea. I think that's the key points. So not only the verbal statement, but what kinds of actions. I think that's a critical point. Having said that, it seems to me that I'm a little bit pessimistic about the future, frankly speaking. The situation on the Korean Peninsula has a little bit deteriorated over the past 10 years. We cannot deny the North Korean nuclear challenge has become more serious and even grave than 5 or 10 years ago. North Korea has conducted 2 nuclear tests already, so they claim there's a nuclear power. So it is, I don't know how many nuclear weapons and what types of nuclear weapons they have. Anyhow, they claim as a nuclear power state. They want to be recognized as a nuclear power state. So whether it is possible to exchange the nuclear, the diplomatic normalization with giving up the nuclear weapon is quite unclear at this stage. Sometimes somebody claims that the North Korea can give up the nuclear, but if we normalize its relations with the United States. Maybe if I were Kim Jong-un, I say, I want to normalize the relations with United States and also having the nuclear weapon. Why not? So those two can go along from North Korean perspective. It might be the best scenario they can imagine. So in the meantime, the inter-Korean relations has also in a kinds of cooling period. So I don't know whether we can jumpstart the inter-Korean relations. Maybe the Chair Lady Hyun Jung-un's visit to Pyongyang can be the beginning of the restart of inter-Korean business, or Kaesong or Kumgangsan. So we don't know yet, but actually always North Korea try to have a private channel, but denying having the official dialogue for the time being. So it is not clear whether we can have a better inter-Korean relation or more institutionalized inter-Korean relations from now. And also the other issue, as Dr. Nam already mentioned, the succession, also health condition of Kim Jong-un is another concern we have nowadays. It's kind of triple challenges, if I say. Nuclear issue, and inter-Korean relations, and also this succession issue. Everybody is concerned with the succession, whether this succession is kind of smooth or not, whether it can be accompanied by some kind of turbulence or not. as Dr. Nam already mentioned, is quite different from the succession from Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il. What I sense is like this succession will result in a changes of power structure in North Korea. So it's not going to be one-man ruled political system. It's going to be, I don't know, if I say it might be a kind of collective leadership, a group leadership, with nominal leader of Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-chol, whoever it is. So this is a kind of preliminary starting point of my presentation. So I'd like to come back to the challenges and threats of North Korea. First of all, because of the nuclear issue, I think that our deterrence posture and defense posture is not in good shape. So I speak just strictly from my personal perspective. We cannot deny that North Korean nuclear threat has increased over the years. Of course, other WMD issues, as missile issues. So in the meantime, whether we have a reliable defense posture or not, I'm a little bit doubtful about that. Actually, if you look at the Defense Reform 2020, that's already all the major weapon acquisition program has been delayed or scaled down. And also, it is quite doubtful whether the United States can bring in the substantial number of forces in time, in proper manner, if there's something happen. Of course, we are talking about the extended nuclear deterrence. So how we can implement or visualize in action about the extended nuclear deterrence is going to be a critical one. As you look at all the statement from 1978, when this Combined Forces Command was created, that concept has been with us, but I haven't seen any real action to implement the extended deterrence. Of course, there's a bubble statement. Of course, we fully believe in this statement and U.S. commitment to the defense of South Korea. But there's a physical limits the U.S. right now has. For example, whether there is another contingency in somewhere else in the world, whether the United States is able to bring in the substantial number of forces in time, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. That's why I'm saying that we need to look at the security structure on the Korean Peninsula very, more realistic way. Second, what about the instability? I think North Korea has a typical character of the kinds of durability. Unlike the communist regime in Eastern Europe, I think North Korea will be able to endure some kinds of all these difficulties in a succession period, of course. But we cannot deny there's some unstable situation can happen. I don't know what will be the cause of that. But as I said before, because of this succession quite different from the previous succession, there may be some turbulence. But turbulence does not necessarily mean the instability or contingency in North Korea. But how we can respond to that kinds of things, and also how we can respond the succession process is going to be a critical one. So it may influence the future North Korean leadership's orientation vis-a-vis outside the world. So how we can handle the instability situation is going to be challenging, and what kinds of policy we can adopt vis-a-vis the new leadership is a quite challenging one. Third issue is like how we can engage North Korea is also clear. Actually, if you look at the Lee Myung-bak administration policy toward North Korea, it's quite similar to the two previous administrations, Sang Seng-kwa, Kong. Even the title is quite similar. If you look at the contents, quite similar. Of course, there are some differences in practice about reciprocity and also make the North Korea as a normally behaving country kinds of thing. But actually, the ultimate goal is quite same. But also to try to emphasize the different adoption of different means in conducting the inter-Korean relations. But North Korea has not responded to this Lee Myung-bak administration call for the meetings and also the reconciliation and the improvement of inter-Korean relations. So those are quite challenging, and also it will be with us for the time being, for a relatively long time. So that's my. So if that's the case, what should be our approach toward North Korea? Because actually, if you look at my background, I usually emphasize all we need to have a strong defense posture. That's the beginning of our policy vis-a-vis North Korea. So we have to look at I actually start with a clear assessment of North Korean challenge. I don't know whether the two governments, I mean the Obama administration and the Lee Myung-bak administration, have conducted comprehensive threat assessment of North Korea. If there's not, I think this is time for us to look at the North Korea and also to come up with some kinds of comprehensive assessment of North Korean challenges. And then based upon that assessment, we can start and devise the policy to implement the policy toward North Korea. And also that's the beginning of our policy toward North Korea. So I like to emphasize it's time for us look at, of course, we are not talking about a global alliance or strategic alliance, but that's a long-term vision. Actually, alliance is alliance. Alliance should cover the basics. So it's time for us to look at the basics of ROK-US alliance, so upon the North Korean threat. So I'd like to see more visible actions and measures to be taken by both countries to enhance deterrence and defense posture on the Korean Peninsula. And second, of course, I'd like to see more the unilateral talks among the concerned parties, US, ROK, and Japan. As you know, the TCOG was one of the venue. The three countries get together and come up with a common policy toward North Korea. Now we are talking about the comprehensive package deal with North Korea. So that's, I think, one of the models, the so-called the Perry process can be a model we can follow, adopt at this time again. And also it's time for us to look at the more in-depth dialogue with China. So I say China is a very important player in this game, so I like to see more active consultation between the United States and China, and also between South Korea and China also. If it's possible, I hope there's a kind of trilateral dialogue, US, China, and South Korea. And third point I like to emphasize so we try to keep the good balance between the incentives and the disincentives in dealing with North Korea. So not for the sake of talks, I think we should come up with some more concrete ideas about the actions. So this government loves the word action. The previous administration always loved the word roadmap, but this administration loves the word action plan. So I like to see more concrete actions to be taken by both sides. For example, from North Korea, they want some kinds of the concrete action to be taken by the United States, not just for the suggestion of having another talks. Oh, right there. So we also like to see all the concrete action to be taken by North Korea. So what kinds of actions like to see from North Korea should be very, very specific. And also this, frankly speaking, it will take some time for us to implement all the strategies in a coordinated manner. And finally, I hate to raise the issue about this instability, but I don't want to have that kinds of situation happen. But because actually we should be prepared if there's something happens. So I think this is time for us to look at the what kinds of situation or what kinds of things can ignite instability in North Korea and the magnitude and scenarios of that one, and what should be our goals and objectives in handling that kinds of situation, and should be consulted among the concerned parties. So I don't want to see that kind of thing happen, but we should be able to handle should it happen. That's my point. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Choi. It's a well-prepped papers. There are more things to read, and we can just learn more in his writings here, and how we're going to approach comprehensive policy reviews, and how we're going to work together with our close ally, USA and Korea. And he emphasized